All right. Everybody having fun so far? This session is going to be full of top secret projects, things that are either brand new or upcoming for your classroom. I'm really looking forward to this one. Hi, I'm Kiki Prottsman at Kiki VSIT on pretty much all social media. I have been in the CS education space for a very long time. I started with my own nonprofit and moved into code.org, where I worked for several years before moving to Make Code in 2020. And I love it here, and I love all the Make Code products. And that's why we're here doing ArcadeCon for you today, because there's just so much to share. My producer for this session is again Richard. Thank you, Richard. I always feel just a little more comfortable with Richard when Richard has my back. So I already shared that he has arcade tips and tricks on the forum, but he also leads the Twitch live stream 3 days a week. We still call it the Twitch live stream, but really it's now live streaming on Facebook and YouTube also. So catch it wherever you want to catch it. Anything else you want to say, Richard?
I like pigeons.
I like turtles. Okay, so we're talking Friday Fun Day today. What is Friday Fun Day? What do we have to offer? And how can we maybe enhance those? Because I finished so much yesterday, we might not actually get into the multiplayer and kiosk here. I'm going to save it for delighters. And then coming soon might be is now here. So let's take a look, shall we? What is Friday Fun Day? Oh, well, wow, I didn't make a slide for that. That's okay. What is Friday Fun Day? Friday Fun Day is this idea that sometimes you have one of those days that you just don't want to prep anything for. It could be the Friday right before a holiday. It could be the first snow of the year that kids still have to come to school. It could be a surprise substitute day. It could be anything, but something where you have a little folio of lessons you can just pull out and give to your students. And so these are made to be very flexible in the way of if your students have only been doing this for a day, it's something they can use. If your students have been using this all year, it's something that will still be fun and refreshing for them. So, the giveaway that I have for you is one of those activities. I'm going to pull from it right here, and it is the word search activity. So, I'm going to open the word search up. It gives you just a quick overview. So, a substitute could read this in 5 minutes and understand what's being asked of them. It is then a word search full of words related to Make Code Arcade. And they can go through, and this could even be used as a bell ringer activity for multiple days in a row if you wanted to. They'll go through and find all of the words related to arcade, but then they need to think or discover how the words are connected. Some of them, like let's say debug or sprite, are pretty obvious, but maybe confetti isn't. And they need to figure out where each of those words came from. But then there's also a question section that asks them to look at the words provided and ask them to locate 10 basic block categories that make an appearance in the words. Which 2 basic block categories are not directly represented? Which words represent variables inside of Make Code Arcade? Which words are connected to the sprites category? And then finally, kind of a more subjective question. In your opinion, which categories represented the most by the words from the list? And then explain why. And there's no direct correct answer there. I mean, maybe you want to create a direct correct answer for that. But what it's going to do is challenge the students to browse and look and see if they can figure out what's going on. All right. So that is one of our latest Friday Fun Day activities, something super easy to pull out of a folder and pass out to the class. And if you wanted and you had a smart board, you could even go through them together and make things a little quicker. Or would it make it take a little longer? I guess that depends on your class. All right. The next Friday Fun Day activity that I want to talk about is actually lots of activities. It is the ability to take basically any of our step by step tutorials and skill maps and turn them into a last minute activity. So, what I've done is we'll go back to the Friday Fun Day folder and we're going to look at the skill maps activity. We now have a skill map one pager. Just make sure that's showing up good. Okay, looks good. The skill map one pager is actually 2 pages, but it could be front and back. We're still calling it a one pager. And it gives you a little overview, a purpose of the activity, the goals for the activity. It gives you a QR code so that you can get some additional help on the forum. Seriously, don't sleep on the forum. You can go into the educators lounge, ask other educators questions about how do you teach this? What would you do if you were trying to teach this? What's your favorite lesson? Educators are so helpful, and some of them have done quite a lot of work to create lessons that they are happy to share. So, yes, we have that there. And then it talks about just how to guide the students in a skill map or tutorial. It encourages you to go in and choose one together and then get it started, shows you kind of how to navigate through the skill map, which we did a session on earlier. All of the sessions will be posted on the Educator YouTube channel as soon as we get them sliced up. And then talks about kind of the level of each of them. So, Full of Stories and Whack the Mole are sort of that basic level. The next up would be Talent Show, Save the Dinos, Burst in Balloons, Turkey Day, et cetera, et cetera. Save the Galaxy, Monster Truck Racer, Sparks Flying, Shark Splash, 80s Rockstar Maze come next. And then some of the most difficult that we have in those tracks are Save the Forest, Code and Adventure, and the Jungle Jump platformer. And they aren't all difficult because the actual coding is difficult. Sometimes it's because they're very long or use larger words. Yeah, and then just gives an overview of what each of these things is. And that should be a great kickoff, even if you get a substitute who's never taught computer science before. This should give them kind of everything they need to be able to come here, choose any one of these, and go through with the students. We have some great help also on the educators page. So if you go to arcade.makecode.com/educators. Hey, have you considered registering for ArcadeCon? It's happening now. So here are some educator resources that can help as well. So if you've chosen one of the skill maps or tutorials and there's some bugs happening, well, for skill maps, that's pretty easy because you can go into the lesson resources for the teacher, the lesson overview, and there's all the keys there. But some of the tutorials, you don't know how to get to them quickly. You don't know what the answer key is. So we've put that all together for you in the quick links. It does scroll a little ways because it's kind of a wide table. But for example, let's take one of the tutorials that's not a skill map. 100 days. So how many of you celebrate the 100 days of school? Anybody? Let me know in the chat if you do 100 days of school with your classroom. We have a tutorial for that. It's a beginner tutorial, 100 days. You learn how to put 100 things scrolling across the screen, and you really get to see how many 100 is. It's really fun. But where do you find it? We don't really represent it very well on the main homepage. The link for it is generally fairly long, as many of our tutorial and skill map links are. But we have an AKA link, a short link for it, or as I call it, a quick link here for it. But you wouldn't know that if you didn't have access to this. So if you love sending your students directly to a specific tutorial, directly to a specific skill map, definitely bookmark the educators page and take a look at these quick links. And then here underneath this, you'll see that every one of these tutorials and skill maps has an educator resource with it. This one is the answer key for the 100 things. And so you can go through and that will help your substitute debug or help you debug to figure out why what the student has done is not going to match. Oh, we have some people emphatically not doing the 100 days. Okay, that's fine. You don't need to. I'm not going to force it. Okay. So with that, I am going to show you the most top secret activity I have ever worked on. It is so top secret and brand new that I only got just the rough draft up last night about 1 a.m. So you are seeing just the very, very first view of this. And I make no apology. Actually, I make every apology for the state that things are in. Please, if you do take a look at it, if you go through it, share your thoughts with me on the forum. Let me know if you find bugs. Let me know if you find misspellings, anything, typos, whatever. But these are the things that happen when you first put stuff out. You need people to test in order to make sure that they can be at their very best. So I'm going to go back to this Friday Fun Day folder. Oh, we do have an AKA link for this Friday Fun Day folder. It is aka.ms/Friday Fun Day. I'm guessing you wouldn't have been able to guess that, yeah? So it's aka.ms/Friday Fun Day. And that will give you access to the 3 things that I'm discussing here. The skill maps, which you can do any of the skill maps, which should give you dozens of free days if you should need them. But if you've already gone through all of our skill maps and tutorials with your classroom, then you can do the word search, and that's a nice breath of fresh air. It's very low code, but high thought process. And then we have cryptic coordinates. And to kick this off, I'm actually going to come back into the stream and I'm going to play a video for you. And you should be able to hear it if you have your sound up.
Attention students, we have an emergency situation and need your help. The government has intercepted a scrambled transmission containing critical coordinates. The transmission seems to contain the location of a very important asset. One of our special service agents, Agent Whiskers. One of our top feline operatives has gone missing, and we believe that the encrypted coordinates hidden in the message will lead us to our last known location. However, our top analysts have determined the message is encoded in a way that can only be accessed on school property. It looks like we'll need you to retrieve the coordinates and send them back to us before it's too late. We're going to provide you with a link. Copy it down. Once the URL has loaded, dispose of the note. At the address, you will find all the instructions you need. By completing the code, you'll uncover the exact coordinates of Agent Whisker's location. Time is of the essence. If you don't recover her, she'll miss snack time. Work quickly, follow the instructions, and get those coordinates to us as soon as possible. The fate of Agent Whiskers depends on you.
And one more thing. This mission is classified.
So if anyone asks what you're doing, just say you're playing some online video game. Good luck, students. The government is counting on you.
Huh? Yeah? Yeah, that's the first take at the video too. So if you have any constructive feedback, you're welcome to share. But I wanted to go in and give you a sneak peek at the cryptic coordinates activity, see what your thoughts are on it, and then see if you want any more that are packaged up in a way kind of like this. Yes, we must save Agent Whiskers. Very Carmen Sandiego. Yes, I agree. So with this comes a slide deck. So we do have the video, the captioned video. There's so much glitchy and stuff going on. I wanted to make sure there was some good captions at the bottom. Once we do send this live and visible on YouTube, I think we will have it captioned so that it can be in multiple languages. But for now, we have the captions built right in. We have this little slide deck. And it starts with the video just in case you want to start it off that way. But the idea is you'll give the students a bell ringer, whatever. It can be the word search, it can be just anything, but keep them busy. And then you play the video. And then the students basically they have their assignment now. The teacher doesn't need to tell them to do anything. The video already told them. And there are slides that they can go into so that they can learn how to use the tutorial that comes with this procedure. And then they do have these two images, which will become useful during the course of this tutorial. They can be shown on a screen, or if you want to do printouts in advance so that they have them available as printouts, or even if you wanted to do just a couple of printouts that were scattered around the room somewhere and the kids had to discover them and how they would be useful to them, that can be helpful too. So there's those. And then I will show you probably, if we get to there, how Flappy Bird fits into all of this. All right, so that's the slides. And I showed you the video. And then each of those, the map and the image are each also provided as individual PNGs if you want to use them that way. So let's go ahead and go into aka.ms/decrypt. I just uploaded this last night, so I'm really hoping it all went through. Hey, good. There will be another little video at the front here with a special agent who is telling you what happened, basically, and that you need to read the instructions, pull blocks from the toolbox, and put them in the workspace. We don't have that yet. So here's what we've got for now. And let me see if I can zoom in just a little bit to make this. There we go. All right. I just want to make sure everybody is seeing my coding screen. I think I somehow got off of live. There we go. I got off of live on the YouTube stream. So I was seeing myself several minutes ago, which is actually a little weird. All right. Here we go. It is going to tell them everything they need to know to do this coding. If you were around for the extensions tutorial earlier, I created a decrypt extension, which made it so the pages and pages of code that were needed to create this game all get condensed down into just a couple very simple blocks that the students need to put in a few different places. So they will do their initiate protocol, and that will be the first thing that they need to do to get started. And then it tells them to look at their screen, and they'll see that when they initiate the protocol, they now have access to secure files. And when they click the A button, they are initiating the decryption protocol. And then they have this message come through. Forgive me for these animations. Those were the glitches that I could figure out how to do in the time frame I had. If anybody wants to work on better glitch effects, I will take them. But yeah, that's what we have. The problem is after we see the code go by, we have nothing more we can do. There's no way to enter what we think the code is. There's no way to replay it. We're basically stuck. So we need to enhance this decryption machine so that we can finish de-encoding basically the code. So we'll go through and we need to be able to attempt a decode afterwards. We'll put that in. And now you'll see that when we play this, we get this code and then it's going to let us know or give us a space where we can enter our decrypted code. Because of our new keyboard entry, I can just now type in 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't have to go from item to item and highlight it. And then I'll hit enter and it tells me that I want higher, 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 lower. Now, will students know immediately that's what it's telling them? Maybe, maybe not. But the whole thing of this is about using your head, figuring it out. What does this mean? What do I do? And as the teacher or as a substitute, you can say, I don't know. This surprises me as much as it surprises you. We've got to figure it out. And one of my favorite lines, we can figure it out together. So there we go. Now we need to figure out what to do next. All right. So we want to show the number we got correct. So now we go into decrypt, show number correct, and we can put that in there and it'll do the same thing. Now, just for time's sake, I'm not going to show every step of the way. I'll go ahead and finish creating it so you can show what's happening. If you don't want spoilers, I'm going to say spoiler alert. I will be trying to walk you through as much of this as possible so you can see what actually happens. If you don't want that, if you want to be surprised too, our next session starts at 2:30. Just letting you know. But yeah, so here we go. All right, so the next thing we need to do is we're going to pull this out from the controller, and we want to make it so that when the left button is pushed, that we can, we can display the encrypted code again so that we can watch it multiple times if we want. But then if we watch it again, we need to be able to guess again. So now when we press the right button, we want to basically take these two things and display them again. So we need to be able to attempt to decode again. We need to be able to show the number correct. And then that is essentially the code that they need to build. Whoops, I'm not ready to submit to Bureau quite yet. If they get stuck and they don't know what they're doing and they don't understand how to figure out what the actual code is, the last step does provide the classified document that decodes each of the numbers if they want to try to be fast enough to actually figure out what the numbers are. We won't be loud about that, and it is after everything else. So only those who are really stuck maybe need that one. And then we have the world map, which is going to be necessary. It looks like I have an extra parenthesis in my code. I'll go fix that. Not right now, but later. The world map, which will be necessary to actually discover what country Agent Whiskers is in. So, all right, let's go ahead and make this nice and big. And we are going to do this again. And so we have a up and a down and a side and a center. And I don't remember which any of those are. I feel like the center is 9, but I don't know what the up and the down were. So I'm just going to guess 4, 5, 2, 9. And it's lower, lower, higher. Yay. Okay. I'm going to write this down so that I don't make a fool out of myself. Is if anyone else wants to decode this as I go, you can put it in the chat and I will use yours. So now if you remember, the left is going to show it again. Oh, it's up, down, right. So up, down, right, and then 9. All right. And so I can go back and I can look and have that for me, but I know that it was lower than 5, lower than 4, higher than 2. So I'm going to now encode it. Let's do 3, 3, 7, 9. Yes. No. Okay. So I should have known that it wasn't 3, 3 because those things weren't the same. So I got the 3 and the 9 right. I'm going to skip this for time's sake because we are almost out of time and I could go back and forth all day. But with 2 people working, a printout in front of them, they should be able to get this fairly quickly. Yeah, thanks, Randy. But when you go through and you get it correct, it gives you a code. And then you take that code, you go through, you look at your map, and the code that you get is D4. And when you decode D4, you get Chad. So I'm going to go back into the code and I'm going to get to the end and I'm going to go submit to Bureau. And I will get a checker. It says enter the secret location. And so now I'm going to go to type in Chad. There we go. And then when I get it right, it lets me know, yay, we located Agent Whiskers. Some reason it's a orange cat instead of the white cat we've been seeing. It's a master in disguise. And then it glitches out and it becomes Flappy Bird. And no matter how many times they reload, it's just now Flappy Bird. It was never here. It's self-destructed. So that's a fun kind of resolution. Also, if they go through and do not get it multiple times, I think they get 3 attempts with this submit to bureau. If they do not get it multiple times, it just glitches out and breaks, and they can't try it again. So they do need to get it in under 3 tries. They need to just not guess randomly each location, and that's a fun little extension that we have that allows you to do that. So those are our Friday Fun Day lessons. You can find them. We will be adding more. We will be enhancing things. We will be making changes to the fixes. You can find them at aka.ms/Friday Fun Day. If you do use them in your classroom and you have ideas for me, go ahead and send them to the forum, and I will be learning from those, and I will make updates. I showed you the educators page. That is a great place to have your Friday Fun Day for all of our other tutorials so that your substitute or you have everything you need to run any of the tutorials at any time. I told you about the forum. As always, make sure that you keep an eye on Kiki's Corner on Medium, because as we get new things, I write about them, and then you know everything we know. And don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel, the MS Make Code YouTube channel. That's our educator YouTube channel. And as I do videos about all of this, you'll have access to those. And then Microsoft Make Code is the YouTube channel for our student-facing videos. And that's our Friday Fun Day. Thank you all. Bye.